I've never felt so bored after watching this movie. This film follows Crash and Eddie becoming independent of their own in their first adventure along with Buck Wild at the Lost World. Now, before I go over to my thoughts on this movie, I apologize that if I'm 10 months late or nearly a year late for me to review this film because I was more focused on watching better films from 2022 than that. And I was also originally going to watch Lao Lao Crocodile ironically when it comes out on a Google Drive link this month. But I've decided to watch a worse movie than that, which is what I'm about to criticize right now. So, today, I watched the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild, ironically on Disney Plus today, to discover if it's worse than Lao Lao Crocodile in my opinion, even though I haven't watched it, but that's besides the point. And what do I think of it? I'm very sorry, guys, I'm very sorry, but in my opinion, this movie is so boring and depressingly bad. And it's worse than Lao Lao Crocodile in my opinion. Yeah, again, I know I haven't watched that movie, but that's besides the point once again. Now, let me tell you the reasons why the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild is not wild in my opinion. One, my big problem with this movie is that this movie was released after nearly a year that Blue Sky Studios shut down due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And Disney had the audacity to let this movie slide without the involvement of Blue Sky Studios. Like, what's the point of making a new Ice Age movie when Blue Sky Studios is gone? This has to be the most inexcusable move ever made from Disney. Two, the animation in this movie is rather a disappointing downgrade, even for 2022 standards. Though I will not call the animation in this movie cheap and lazy because it's an overused term. And not only that, it'll be hurtful towards the crew who made this movie. I would just call it disappointing. I would just call the animation disappointing. And that's it. 3. 20th Century Studios, formerly 20th Century Fox, which was the original studio that brought us the original Ice Age franchise, got replaced by Walt Disney Pictures in the opening logos for this movie. I mean, Diary of a Wimpy Kid 2021 did the same thing too, even though I find that movie underrated, but let's move on. But I don't mind if Diary of a Wimpy Kid 2021 moved from 20th Century to Disney, but with Ice Age? That has to be the most conflicting thing that I've ever discovered. 4. Wasted potential. Wasted potential. This movie could have been the Puss in Boots of Ice Age, with Buck Wild being the main character, but no, instead, this movie rather focuses on Crash and Eddie instead of Buck Wild. Because of this, I feel like this movie should have been titled The Ice Age Adventures of Crash and Eddie, not The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild, or instead of that title, but yeah. 5. The premise of this movie is rather too basic and generic in my opinion, which explains why I yawned for like numerous times when I first watched this movie. 6. Despite being 1 hour and 22 minutes, the pacing feels slow and sluggish, which explains, once again, why I yawned for like numerous times when I first watched this movie. In fact, this is the shortest Ice Age movie ever made. 7. Despite Simon Pegg reprising his role as Buck Wild, I feel like the voice acting in this movie is rather off in general, in my opinion. Sure, some voice actors nearly captured the original voices from the original Ice Age movies, but not all of them. Sid the Sloth's voice in this movie is the main example for this problem. 7? I mean, 8 If this movie is considered in another Ice Age installment, where are the other characters like Peaches, Shira, Granny, and etc.? But the worst offender has got to be Scrat's absence. Like, it's not an Ice Age movie without Scrat, you know what I'm saying? 9. The final battle scene in the near end of this movie is not even interesting. Maybe it's because of the character movements and the visuals. And 10. The worst character in this movie has got to be Orson, because he looks way too sinister and creepy for an Ice Age movie. And even worse, you can even see his brain being visible on the back of his head. Like, that's downright disgusting that I nearly gagged. I nearly gagged when I first watched it. Now, before I wrap up my rant on this movie, do I have any good qualities for this movie? Well, turns out I kinda do, in my opinion. Simon Pegg's voice acting as Buck is still pretty good. 2. It would be better if this movie was a TV series as planned before the final product. 3. The soundtrack is okay in my opinion. And 4. Last but not least, Ice Age Scrat Tales, which is a short series on Disney Plus, is a big improvement over this movie. In, and it's also a really great farewell message from Blue Sky Studios, since Ice Age Scrap Tales is Blue Sky Studios' last project before they shut down. And it's also heartwarming. Very, very heartwarming. I recommend that. So yeah. Anyways, overall, in my opinion, the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild is way worse than Lyle Lyle Crocodile in my opinion. Like, this has got to be my least favorite Ice Age movie, and my least favorite Disney animated movie, even if it isn't from Walt Disney Animation Studios or Pixar Animation Studios, since both of them are great studios. But this was my apologies for my stuttering once again, but this is scripted, okay? I'll try my best to read the script while I review this. This was made by 20th Century Animation. It's just that this movie is distributed by Walt Disney Pictures, not 20th Century Studios, which explains why this is not only my least favorite Ice Age movie, it's also my least favorite Disney animated movie. And with all of that aside, and not only that, it's now considered my least favorite movie of 2022. If you guys thought that Loud Loud Crocodile was going to be my least favorite, well, guess what? It turns out to be this movie, in my opinion. I've never felt so bored after watching this movie. But if you guys want to watch a better Disney Plus movie that came out this year, I recommend Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. That movie is 1,000 times better than this movie. Now, with that being said, let's get into my rating for this movie, shall we? I'm gonna give The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild a 3 out of 10. My goodness, this movie was so bad that it bores me, in my opinion. So yeah, but anyways, that concludes my rant on The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild, where I criticized this movie for my several reasonings. My several meanings. My several reasons, to be exact. Thanks for watching, and if you guys... Oh, one more thing. One simple more thing. If you guys like this movie, then that's good for you. Your opinion will be handled by me, as always. But please don't bash my opinion on this movie. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, and now we excuse me. I'm gonna rewatch Scrat Tales. So yeah. And I'll see you guys next time.